What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Switch Up Sports, and today we've got another interview. I have an outside hitter from the University of Texas at Arlington, JC, on the podcast today, and I'm going to be asking her how she got started into volleyball and her current chase as a fifth-year player going after 2 rings. So let's welcome in JC. JC, what is going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Hey, I am doing just as well. It's a Tuesday. I got my workout in today. Had to deal with a little bit of traffic, but it wasn't anything too crazy. I hear that you
hmm
guys are coming off a big win the other day, and you guys are what? You guys are undefeated. You guys are where are you guys at?
Yeah, we're undefeated in conference so far, and we are gonna head it to the conference championship soon. And after that, I hope so. The NCAA is on the way.
Okay, there you go. So you are not an American here. You were playing. You grew up overseas. Tell us a little bit about what it was like. Growing up overseas. Kind of where you're from and kind of how you grew up and how you even got started playing volleyball.
All right. So I'm from Turkey, Istanbul, and growing up, I started at an age of 6, and my mom actually played professional volleyball as well as my dad. Plus,
Wow.
my aunt, she's still coaching, and she was my first coach when I started playing volleyball. And the thing with playing volleyball in Turkey, people mostly are not really worry about going to school, getting education. What we do is because Turkey is very big with volleyball, women's volleyball especially. So what they do is we would just go double practices, triple practices in a day, and like lifts and like go very much crazy with it without even worry about school, which is good or bad, like
Yeah.
going to high school. I remember just my teachers just giving me the answers of the exams. Like we would show up, maybe like it was 8 months of school. We would show up maybe 1 week of school just for to take the exams and stuff. So I mean, it's not what I wanted. That's the reason I guess like I wanted to come to America because I knew college sports are big in here, and you could do both. Get your education and at the same time play the sports that you love. So, and in case you get injured, what's your backup plan? So that's the main reason and kind of why I decided to go to play in college sports in America.
That's awesome. I mean, I know you said it was like, oh, it's not the best, but I mean, for me, the way that I grew up and getting the chance to play sports 2 3 times a day as a kid, that would have been awesome. If you would have told me, hey, I could miss school and I can go play some sports, man, I would have signed up for that. Pretty
Hey, go
much,
to Turkey.
I pretty much immediately right, exactly. So what? Because I know that you now are at the University of Texas at Arlington, but where did you start at? I know you said this is your 5th year. I know we kind of talked a little bit before. Um,
Yeah.
where were you at before, and kind of talk about the kind of transfer process, and what you were kind of
Yeah.
talking about earlier, it being 5th year, and this is really the chance of to hammer down and really get the rings or
Yeah.
accolades or anything like that.
So let me rewind back. So the way I got recruited to America, it started obviously me being interested in American schools and like always wanted to play in America, right? I just told you the reason. But so basically the only maybe 50, 60, maybe hundreds of college coaches actually went to Turkey. There was a tournament to watch us play, to kind of recruit players overseas, because like I said, volleyball is really big and high level. So I remember doing a practice and then seeing all the coaches on the stands and like kind of taking notes and like um, then I had a game and they were watching there me as well. Then how it happened after the game, they're like, JC, like, we want to talk to you. And after that, I remember talking to a bunch of coaches, and they were giving an offer right in there
Wow.
with everything. But I never been to America before that, so I didn't know what University of, I guess, Brown, Princeton. Like I had no idea all these universities and how good they are or how bad, as well as their volleyball team, right? So
Right.
for me, I'm talking all these coaches, but I'm like, well, this is great, but I don't know which one of you is actually good and in the level that I want to play, you know?
Right.
So, and I ended up talking to Rutgers University,
Oh,
and
wow.
I knew talking to, I have an agency, and I also discussed with them about this decision, and they were telling me, hey, like Rutgers University is in Big Ten, and Big Ten at the time, I guess still is the best conference for volleyball, Division One volleyball.
Hmm.
So that's why I was like, all right, like this is the best I got, I guess, and I'm just gonna say yes. And I'm type of person that I don't, I guess, very like spontaneous, and I don't think too much thought and like put too much thought into like decisions. I kind of go with the flow, and that's what it was. Like, hey, okay, I'm gonna be in America, like a dream country, right? So I was just like, all right, yes, and I said yes there, and then we basically a verbal committed, and after that I started with Rutgers University, and I played there for 2 years. I had a good season, adjusting to American culture, food. It's been hard, and I also didn't speak English at all. All I knew was hi, how are you, like that's it. So it was challenging.
I can
I
bet.
had to
I bet.
take a lot of classes that are not even core classes. I had to take classes that you guys were probably taking in middle school, like that level of English, right? I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
then play there 2 years. I was at the time I was an undecided major because, like I said, I'm very not good at making decisions. I just go with the flow. So I was taking a bunch of classes there, and then finally I found my passion in psychology, and I decided to transfer after my sophomore year. Um, the school was great, everything is great, but the level is not what I was looking for really. And then I decided to I entered the portal and got a couple offers. And after I weighted my options, I ended up going to UTSA, committing to UTSA. Um, so played there 2 years. I had a great season, honestly, and obviously got graduated from there as well. Got my psychology degree. Then transferred again. A lot of transferring. And I was saying one of my teammates yesterday, actually, I played in 4 conferences because Rutgers was in Big Ten. Then UTSA, my first year there, they were at Conference USA. Then we
Okay.
changed to American Athletics. Then coming to UTA, UT Arlington, now we're in WAC, you know?
Ah, gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
Obviously it was cool seeing all these conferences. I probably been to at least 40 states, which I say it but like doesn't feel like it because it's a business trip, you
Right.
don't really get to see around. And then after I got my psychology degree, I decided to transfer again and take my 5th year uh, at University of Arlington, and I'm actually getting my master's in business right
Nice.
now, and I'm about to finish this summer, so very soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this that was the story.
So basically, you've been there, you've done that. When it comes to anything else, you've already knocked it out of the park. You're someone who didn't even speak English, and now here you are hopping on a podcast, talking, no problem, spitting English left and right, no issues, no problems. You're traveling all over the place. You're in this city, you're in that city, you're at that university. You're just absolutely killing the game. So What was, you said you've gotten the chance to travel a lot for sports. I can agree. I've done, tons of traveling for sports, and like you said, it's a business trip.
Yeah,
You get to see all
yeah.
these cool arenas, you get to see, crazy different fans in the stands, but you're not really seeing the town, you're not really seeing too much. But in terms of some of the different schools that you've gotten a chance to play at, being in the Big Ten, and a couple different conferences, what are some of your favorite schools that you've had a chance to play against, or what are some cool places that you've had the chance to play?
Oh man, Wisconsin. I remember playing
I
them
bet
there,
I bet that
obviously
was
one of
awesome.
the best and best and best, and against Nebraska as well, you know,
That would be
playing,
awesome.
and that's like a completely different level, you know, you get to see like 6'8", 6'9" girls just on you blocking, you know, and it was such a great experience, and I feel like I'm glad that I've been to Rutgers and get to see all these good teams and played against them, because I feel like it got me where I'm at today. You could that experience definitely like, carry it over, and it's like you don't usually realize this until you actually in the game and knowing what to do in difficult situations. That's where the experiences came from. So you know, I feel really lucky. I also played in the first league in Turkey, and that's also playing against 30, 40 years old, you know, that also got me where I'm at today with the experience and everything. Yeah, and the cool places that I visited, I would say obviously playing all these good teams, but as a as a state, I would say Seattle stood out
Okay.
for
Yeah,
me. I
yeah.
don't know why. I don't know why. I never been to also California before, but Seattle, it kind of, I don't know, it reminded me home a little bit, because I also live in a city, and it was a time, actually it was like 2 weeks ago we traveled there, and it was like raining, a little gloomy, that like foggy city vibes. Like I
Hmm.
just felt like, I don't know, I really loved it. And California as well. We played against California Baptist University and
Nice.
University of Seattle as well. And obviously, compared to Wisconsin and Nebraska as a level, is a little different. But it was just cool to just go around the city and actually play against them.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, and I think that's probably one of the perks that sometimes people forget about with sports. And it's just there are so many different places, across the United States. When you think about how vastly, how big the United States is, and a place like Seattle is, up in the Northwest, and like you said, it's rainy, it's kind of gloomy. Just the way that their temperature and climate is completely different
Yeah.
than a Texas, than a San Antonio, than Florida, than New
Yeah.
York. And
Sure. Yeah.
getting the chance to experience that and travel and play at these different schools and against these different people. There's so many things that get rolled up into that go with that, of that other people just don't get a chance to experience. Some people will never leave the city that they live in. Some people will never live the state that they live in.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
you, you're out on foreign territory. You're on foreign soil. You're in a world of your own. You figured out how to speak English. You figured out how to be able to take these classes. You then graduated. You're now going and getting your master's. You're traveling all over the place. You've played at multiple universities. So like when you think about like, hey, like just stacking and stacking and stacking, it's just like
Yeah.
you've done
Yeah.
so many things and you're absolutely killing the game. And if you had to speak to whether it be your younger self, or if there was, a girl that was maybe, 9, 10, 12 years old that was maybe just getting started, or maybe she's been playing for a while, or like I said, even talking to maybe your younger self, I mean, is there something that you would change in there? Is there any advice that you would give to your younger self? Or is there, something that hey, look out for this, or hey, be ready for this opportunity? Is there anything that you would say in that regard?
Yeah. I would say it seems scary, you know, going to completely different country, not knowing anyone. I don't have any family, you know, anyone that I know in America, and like it seems scary to some people. majority of people, right? Like,
Right.
and knowing that you're not going to be able to communicate for a while with people, because of the language barrier. And I would say, I just, if I would say you're never ready. Ready. That's how I feel. I feel like I would say that like you're never gonna feel completely ready, but you just have to take that little step. Maybe not even, it's not going to be a pretty or a confident step, but you have to get out of your comfort zone in order to grow, in order to experience, and just move forward in life. I feel like being in your comfort zone next to your family, next living in a city that it's not gonna get you that next level. Just not just obviously mentally, physically, but just in every aspects. I feel like you have to be in your uncomfort zone, and that's when you actually gonna be, um, you know, actually seeing what the real world is. That's how I would say.
In that comfort zone, would you say that having like awesome teammates or having rock star teammates really was probably the thing that maybe helped you out the most? Is like, I know you said not having family over here, and moving away from family and not having a support system. How good were some of your teammates that you were able to rely on? And I mean, I'm guessing it's probably the same. I've had some teammates of mine that I basically look at them as brothers, and I'm guessing that's probably a
Hmm.
situation for yourself where you've got some that they truly feel like sisters, where, between the time that you guys spend together training, or the time that you spend together traveling, or, just spending in general, like, hey, outside of even team spent time, we're still going to hang out. And so I'm guessing that probably happened, right?
Oh, for sure, yes. And not just teammates. I feel like coaches plays a big role too. I feel like I remember filling out a form said emergency contact and not knowing what number I should put, because I just cannot just put my, parents' number, because they're not going to be able to call in an emergency. They're
Right.
not going to be able to get there. Or, I remember putting my head coach as the emergency number first, like his number. And then the next was one of my teammates, actually. Yeah. I feel like one thing that really helped me kind of adjusting, and people weren't judgy at all. Yes, I didn't speak English. Yes, I had a very strong accent, and I feel like the reason I was very comfortable and was able to actually learn the language and the culture very quickly and easily is just because the people that I was surrounded with. And, they were very welcoming, very warm. And also, it was I remember like living in the East and how different it was living in the West, or in the middle. Like, I feel like that was also like a cool experience. You get to see different kinds of people, and yes, and culturally it kind of changes too. I don't know if you realize this at all, like, or you could say the same thing, but overall I would say there was a lot of good people that I was surrounded with, so it made everything easier for me.
Right.
So I'm really glad and appreciative of that.
Yeah, and I think that plays the big key, especially like you were talking about, of having a head coach, or just having good coaches that can fill in and be in those roles. So to try to, I'm gonna do a slight pivot and a slight twist, and just we're gonna go into back when you were at Rutgers. So we're gonna spin it back. You said that you spent 2 years
Okay.
there. What would you say was your favorite experience? It could be a trip, it could be a game, it could be a night that you and the girls went out and got dinner, or whatever it may be. Just what do you think was your favorite experience when you were at Rutgers?
First of all, I want to clarify this. It was COVID, right when it started. So
Okay,
my
okay,
first year of college, and it wasn't an experience that I was looking to go when I go and got into college, right?
Right.
I'm watching all these American movies, like I'm hyped, like like I'm seeing that party life and that
Yeah.
this and that. But I was in New Jersey at Rutgers. First of all, it started not seeing anything. I was in a hotel for 2 weeks, right? Let's get that straight because I'm coming overseas. I had to be
Right.
isolated.
Right.
So that 2 weeks, it was a crazy. Like I just felt like completely lost, I guess, in a sense. They were giving me some food and snacks, but I was like, I had no idea what they were, or some of the stuff that I never tasted in my life before. So adjusting it was like a kid in the candy store, literally kid in the candy store. I was like, this is great, and eating, and also interactions. Like I feel like culturally in Turkey, when you first meet a person, or just came across and like you walking towards each other, but you don't know the person, we don't really say anything or look at them. Like we just pass by, right? I remember when I was in a hotel, I was gonna heat up my food. So I was going downstairs and I saw this cleaning lady just passing by and telling me, hi, like, how are you, right? And I stopped. I was like, oh, I'm not doing well. Like, I have this and that. I like pour my whole story to her because that's what we do. Like, I was confused. Like, whenever someone says hi, how are you? I would assume they're actually asking what I'm doing, stuff like that. So I was explaining to her, but then she was walking still. I was like, well, you asked me a question. Why are you walking by? Walking past. And I remember uh, at the time I was like, all right, this is weird. Why she asked me? Because I was like thinking all these stuff. Oh, like, does she know me? Who I am, and like why she's doing this stuff like that. But then I realized it, like going into culture, that was the first cultural interactions like with someone, and we just say it, right? Hi, how are you? Or what's up?
Right.
So
Exactly.
anyways, then it kept. After 2 weeks later, I got to the my dorm, and ordering food from a dining hall. So I didn't have that big dining hall experience where everyone sits and eats together. I was ordering online and going practices. Every before practice we would get tested for COVID, every practice,
Ah,
because I know some teams were just wearing masks, but for us, only Big Ten conference, we were allowed to not wear masks during practice and games. We were the only conference. And the reason being, Rutgers was a very, like, I guess, good school for, I guess, like doctors and pharmacists, stuff like that. So they actually found a test for the first time. It wasn't the stick that goes into your nose. It was the one that you just spit on it, and then there was like a blue thing. You pour it and then shake it. That they found that, so they were doing
nice.
that test to us every morning. I
Yeah,
remember
that's a
6 a.m. in
lot
the
better
morning.
than shoving a thing up your
Yeah,
nose and scraping your
exactly.
brain. Yeah.
And because of that, among all these student athletes, nobody really was getting sick, because they prevented very much, like, and it was like very, strict, and they were on it. And obviously we weren't allowed to go anywhere, stuff like that. But back to your question, I would say the best experience that I had was we had a train in the campus train station at New Brunswick in New Jersey. And me and my teammates, some of my teammates, I remember, just hopped in the train. And then I found myself in New York for the first time. And nobody was around it. Like that crowded, crazy New York that you see, it
Yeah.
was all empty. I
Right.
felt like maybe 3 or 4 people in the street, but it was all to me. Like that's how I felt, and it was a great experience, and I would never forget. I remember the feelings out. I was just like, all right, I'm in America. That's when it's like kind of clicked for me. I don't know. That was probably the one of the best experience.
That's awesome. So the one thing that kind of stood out there is, do you remember the some of the beginning foods and snacks that you were given, like some of the things that you tasted for the first time, or some of the things that you're like, what the heck is this? Do you remember any of those?
Yes, it was asparagus.
They just gave you asparagus.
I had no idea what it was. I was just like, at first I didn't like it. But then later on, I actually recently started cooking for myself with
Okay.
seasoning.
Okay,
I guess
there you
there was
go.
no seasoning on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
well, in my culture, a bunch of seasoning. It goes spices and everything. But it was plain asparagus. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I remember that was very awkward for me. Like, I couldn't eat it. I don't know. But what else? Um, I guess okay. The first thing they gave me was that cereal that you guys have has like bunch of colors in it and
Fruit Loops
marshmallow. I
or
think so,
oh,
yeah.
or Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms, Lucky
Lucky
Charms, yes.
Charms. There you go.
I was like, I'm eating it, and there's something soft also coming. I was like, I just couldn't understand what it was. And it's all these colors. I'm like, do they taste different every, color? I was trying to explain, but yeah, it was the same.
Yeah,
And
that's
that was different.
yeah,
Trying to remember. I think
that's
there's a
awesome.
lot of things, though. There's a lot of things. Not, uh, let me. I think there was like some like protein bars, like nature, nature valley
Oh, like
or
Nature
something.
Valley. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not my best. Not really liking that one. Not
Yeah,
really that. It's just so
those
messy
things
to
are a
eat.
mess.
Like it was. Yes, it's a mess. I mean, it didn't taste bad, but it was just like all
It's an
over the
absolute
place,
yeah,
you
it's an
know.
absolute crumb mess.
But exactly, exactly. But other than that, I feel like obviously everything I ate was different, including the taste of the chicken and meat. Like, but then I got used to it. But you know what? I gained 25 pounds on my freshman
That's
year.
America.
Yeah,
You are now officially
yeah,
welcomed in America.
yeah.
That's what we
I
do
mean,
best currently.
the process of eating was amazing. No problem with that.
Right.
It felt great. But then I was able to touch actually 9/11, almost the 10 foot, the rim,
Yeah.
almost like an inch short. And then it went down and down and down after that 25 pounds. And
Uh,
yeah, I went home. And almost my friends are like, what happened to you? Like I just
oh,
got
that's
chubby
horrible.
and
That's horrible.
and I was trying to convince myself, like, oh, it's just muscles, guys. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I just gained a lot of muscle because I remember like we would do Olympic lift, and it was very heavy, like because back home we just more obviously I was in high school too, but we would do more body weights stuff, maybe with like machines and stuff. But here in America, I feel like I don't know about other divisions, but Division One we do Olympic lifts,
Mm-hmm.
um, 3, 4 times in a week. So that's what I was trying to convince myself. Hey, like I just gained muscle.
Right.
But no, the portions. First of all, the portions were huge. I feel like a large, like a small cup size you get from I don't know McDonald's, Subway, a
Right.
small cup this big would be our large
I've heard
or
that
the
before.
burger size.
I've heard that
Yes,
before.
it was crazy. The portions, the burger, like it was just I couldn't believe. I mean, I was like, yeah, I'm in heaven. Like this could be it. Like I'm enjoying it so much, but didn't really think I would gain 25 pounds. Unfortunately, it happened, but obviously now I'm back to my own shape and everything. But it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, I can say that is the one big negative that the American culture does have is our food isn't the best, and the things that are in that food aren't the best, and the quantity that we eat that food in is definitely not the best. Um, but it's now becoming one of our things is Americans, we eat tons of food and we eat a lot of junk. And I think is, being a college athlete and, being able to work and stay in shape and do things like that, like you said, you're now back to where you're at a competitive level and, you're back in shape and you're at a maintained level that you want to be at, and you're tracking these things. And there's so many people that don't do that here. There's so many people that, you can just see them when you walk around, and it's I think becoming a problem over here, especially just because like when you think of how early it's starting with some of our kids and whatnot. I'm guessing that you don't have a bunch of overweight kids overseas, right?
I never seen, honestly, never seen at all, surprisingly.
Yeah, and so that's kind of a sad part that I will say that is a definite negative on this side. So in terms of some of the food and some of the bad things, and like you said, the portions, some people they love to eat, and that is what they do. And we've got all you can eat buffets, and we've got other
Oh, yeah.
giant meal size
Yeah.
portions of things, and the extra extra large or the super size, and all the things that go on. But that's America for you. So if you had to choose a favorite, whether it be a snack or a food or something that's different, what would you say that is? It can really be anything. It can be an actual meal, it can be the full plate, or it can just be like one specific thing.
Ah, hmm. That's a great question because I'm the least picky person ever when it comes to food. And obviously, what are you really trying to say by, are you asking for specifically American food?
I guess you can go
Because, like, what is
go
really,
both with it. So, what's your favorite thing that's not American that you can't get here? And then what's your favorite thing that you can get here?
okay, my favorite place at all times that is only in America. You probably know it, but kava. Have you
Oh,
had kava?
kava. Yeah, kava's delicious.
Oh, yes. That's like my favorite at all times. I would eat probably 2 times in a week.
Heck yeah,
That's my
kava's
favorite
good.
place.
I like kava a lot.
Yes. Yeah. And
So
what else do you
yeah,
have?
so then what about something that you can't get here?
I can't
Yeah, what's something that you
get
miss
here.
from home that you can't have here?
Oh, it's just kebabs.
I guess
It doesn't
there's not really a good
it doesn't
kebab place.
yeah, it doesn't taste the same, or like baklava, the
Yeah, we don't have
dessert.
that here.
Yeah.
We don't have that here. There's
Yeah, man, I'm missing that a lot, like a lot. But yeah, I love Turkish food. So, and whenever you go to, I found like a one or two restaurants that I've been actually not in Dallas. I live in like Arlington, but in San Antonio there was one I've been called Demasi's and Pasha. I don't know, have you been? Um, but it was not the same at all. Even like the rice, it tastes different. The meat, chicken, like everything tastes a little different than turkey.
right.
So those are the things I'm definitely missing. That maybe even the bread, for example.
Yeah.
But
I guess everything's kind of different over here. Um,
yeah,
and there's a lot of new things that are and some studies that are coming out based off of some American food and how it's not great, and some other things that are going. But that's a different conversation. We can dive into that on a on a different day. Um, so I guess you're in your fifth year, you're chasing a couple rings, you're playing well. You've seen a lot of the country. You've got all these accolades. Like I said, to go all the way back, not being able to speak English. Now you're speaking English. You graduated with a bachelor's degree. You're going for your master's. You're playing volleyball. You're in a foreign country. You're doing all these things. And I know at the end of the day, there's everyone has hardships. Everyone has some struggles. So I guess if there's like something that you can speak to, that you kind of feel that you're kind of going through, and it's really not the best situation, or whatever it may be that's going on, a problem or struggle of some sort, and some of the things that you've done to overcome it, or some people that have stepped in to be able to help out, or just what are you doing to be able to overcome some of the problems that you're having. So I guess both problem and then what you're doing to overcome it as well.
I feel like, if I'm being honest, friendships would been hard. Finding that person that you could actually, have deeper, meaningful conversations. And I don't want to obviously trash talk to anyone. Like, this really depends on the person. But what I've been experienced, unfortunately, I haven't really been able to find that person that is like, I have best friends, that's another, but they're internationals as well. But I haven't been able to find that deep, uh, you know, friendship. I feel like, I I'm a person that I'm very also very, you know um, picky with who I surround myself with, because I want to be around, good people, or I want to be around people who actually, you know, do the good things for themselves, always get better and better, kind of push themselves and push their limits. And because that's a big influence on myself and like on other people too. So I would say, so far, the a little bit of an issue with finding that connection. It's been mostly very superficial friendships. I don't want to say Americans, like that or anything like that. It's just the people that I have experienced. Um, but I'm I guess I'm just trying to focus on myself, and I came for here for a reason, and I put big goals for myself, and and day to day, and trying to get better and better. I feel like I'm not I'm trying to not let those things distract me from what I'm trying to achieve. And also, there's possibly a professional career waiting for me. I've been talking to some managers, some agencies, and to possibly play in Europe,
Very
hopefully Italy.
nice. Very
So
nice.
yeah, overall, just I guess, yes, obviously you're not gonna find that connections that you had from your own country, from your own people,
Right.
which I'm very open minded. Like, I I go for people who are unique, who can contribute different things, and just push me in different ways. But I haven't been lucky of that. That's like the a little bit like, obviously, like missing home. Maybe it makes me realize that, like, your social support is actually very important, and you're not gonna be always getting that support from I mean, obviously your family supports you whatsoever, whatever the situation is. But I feel like you it's so important to have that connection, and finding that person, um, or that friendship that could help you go through these things, because you're not alone. Because it's hard sometimes just to balance everything in life, and just being in a different country with, trying to get used to different culture. And I feel like that's the thing. But the prevent is, I just know that's just the process and part of the process. I have bigger goals, and just trying to see myself from a bigger perspective. I guess that's what's been helping me so far. And studying psychology, and getting my degree from psychology, I feel like I've learned to see a lot of different perspectives. And that's also, I feel like, has a big role, like just mental health generally, and just being, well-being stuff, that's really important.
Yeah, and like you said, having those bigger goals, having those bigger aspirations. That I'm not going to speak for you or whatnot. You can tell me I'm wrong at any point. But like, if you're ever like feeling overwhelmed, or you just feel like everything's going wrong, or you just feel like, you're at a stuck point, that looking at those bigger goals, those bigger aspirations, and just knowing that, like, hey, this is what we're fighting for. This is what we're searching for. This is what we're trying to do, and just like, that constant reminder of some of those things, because like you said, without having that support system right next to you, or the ability to tap into them, in a moment of need, especially being far away, or whatever is going on, then having those teammates, or having like someone close to be able to help with that. But like you said, a teammate's different than an actual relative, which is different than just a regular friend. So I think, like you were kind of touching on there, of just like, you're making sure to keep getting better. You're focused on what's in front of you. You're not looking what's behind you, and and you've got your sights set on something. So whether it be playing professional, whether it was getting your degree, whether it was trying to chase a ring, what it seems like to me is, it's like, you know what you're doing, and you know that you feel this type of way, but at the end of the day, you see the pinnacle on the mountain. You see the big picture. You see the thing that you're chasing after. And I know we had a very long conversation that more pertains to that than anything. When we had the opportunity to meet each other and hang out for a while, so that was a cool thing. And hearing this kind of side as well, of the more background story for it, of where you originally started, and how you moved from Rutgers to UTSA, and now what you're doing at UTA, comboed with not knowing English, or what you were able to go through when you started at COVID. Like, that in itself is a whole different world. And hey, we're gonna put you in a hotel for 2 weeks. You're gonna have no interaction with everyone else. You don't know any English. You don't even know the food that we're giving you. But yet you said, I'm here for a reason. I'm here to do the things that I told myself I'm here to do. And you know what? You're absolutely killing those things, because you keep showing up. You keep getting better each and every day. So then when you take that next step forward, it's like, well, I'm good, because I know where I got to. I'm standing right here. I'm standing 25,000 feet up in the air, because I took all these steps to get here. And I think that's where, sports play that bigger picture, to kind of pull it back into the sports realm. Is sports are a very easy thing to say, oh, it doesn't mean much. Oh, it's just a game. Oh, it's whatever. But when you think about someone who was in your shoes, where yes, it's a game. Yes, it's not real life. It's something that's outside of, but it's something that was able to be a vehicle that was able to put you in a position that now all of the different things that you're doing got opened up because of volleyball. Because you said, hey, I want to do this thing. You set your tasks for it. You hopped in and you took off. And it's always awesome, hearing the background story, or hearing the more in depth when it goes in, whether it be, someone who, it doesn't matter where they came from. Any college athlete, they all have a story. And I'm always super interested to figure out that story, because, I just played so many sports. I love sports, and I tie so many life lessons to sports, and that's why I just care so much about it, because I know what it pulled me out of. Like, I know where I could have been, but sports didn't allow me to go there. It was, hey, Friday night, rather than being out, you're in the dorm studying, because that's the small window of margin you have, because you've got a game the next day, and then you're traveling that day, and then you've got a different test that you have to take, but then you have to hop back on a bus and go somewhere else, and then you have all these trainings that you have to be at, and you just have this crazy schedule. But yet, what is most important is what you set your eyes on, and you just keep making strides to it. And it's awesome. Like I said, hearing the more further in depth. I mean, like I said, we've had long conversations before. We've chatted before, and just hearing the more background story of it, and hearing where you're at, what you've gone through. And like I said, I left school just before COVID, so I didn't have to go through that you did, especially showing up here and that being your first experience is having to deal with that whole situation and how everything went down. So to kind of sort of piece these things back together, as we get rocking and rolling here. I know don't want to take up too much of your night. I know, like, actually hearing the story, you've got tons to
Yeah,
do.
practice in the
Um,
morning.
exactly. You've got to get up in the morning. You got to get your workout in. You got to keep going. But if we're going to do kind of two things. So one, any last things that you want to say, whether it be a lesson, a funny story, a cool thing that you've experienced. It can be really just kind of anything. It's kind of random, and you can go wherever, which way you want to go with it. And then I'll tell you the second one here in a second after the first. So like I said, anything you want to say, whether it be, like I said, lesson, another story, something
Yeah.
fun, whatever it might be, go for it.
Yeah. I feel like I realized, when you were saying that, like, it took up so much of our time that, um, like, at the end of the day, you have to love the sport, and if you don't have that love for what you're doing, I'm sorry, but it's gonna feel suck to just wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, go treatment, go lift after, go practice and school, and again a double practice. Like, it's gonna feel super forced and like a torture just to wake up, and if you're not loving the sport, I feel like it's so important that I just do feel like I really love playing volleyball. I have always been, and that's like the my one motivation that I wake up every day, um, just to do what I love. And going to classes, yes, it sucks, but after practice, but I know that practice puts me in such a great mood that I'm just like an angel, like rest of my day. I'm just so happy, super passionate. Um, but on the flip side, that one thing is really important is, you're bigger than your sport always. I have it on my Instagram bio, actually, like, just reminding myself that, like, um, I'm not just an athlete, I'm a human too, just going back and, like, because obviously, like, if you don't have that love, for your sport, it's just, you have to find different things that defines you. That's also important. And whether that just doing the stuff that you love, besides your sports. I'm talking about specifically college. But like I said, I just have a crazy passion that gets me going every day. And I'm very competitive when it comes to volleyball. And I just love that, like, I just love that competition, just going for that last ball, just improving yourself. Like, just the mindset that I have is 1%, 1% every day, 1% every day. And I think that's what I would say. Yeah.
Well, I like it a lot, especially like you said, love the thing that you're doing. And when you love the thing that you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. You're able to show up. You're able to put in the extra work. When you enjoy showing up to practice, you're going to practice more than the person who hates it. When you enjoy working out, you're gonna work out more than the person who hates it. When you enjoy going to treatment, you're going to do it more than the person who hates it. When you've got a certain love and passion and competitiveness on the court, on the floor, then you're naturally going to be better, play better, be more enthused. And like you said, when you get a chance to be around it afterwards, you said that you're like an angel. And I feel that there are so many athletes that the minute they're able to just do something that involves the one thing that they're passionate about, the one sport, then it just completely changes everything,
Yeah.
because it is purely, hey, I know I'm giving my 100% best. I'm doing everything I can possibly do, and I'm leaving it all out there. And when you do that, there is no such thing as losing. And so, the big thing that I've always had is this big thing called Born to Win. And what you just said is
Yeah.
essentially the whole reason. It is, you can go out and it doesn't matter if you've you're in your first year, you're brand new, you're a rookie. If you go out there and you give your 100% best, there is nothing more you can do. You leave it all out there on the floor, and you happen to lose, you happen to mess up, or something goes wrong, then it's not a loss. It's not a fail, because
Exactly.
now, hey, that's something I need to work on. Hey, I know I messed up in this area. Now I need to go do this. Versus there are so many people that want to take the attitude of the laissez-faire. Oh, I'm just going to kind of go out there and I'm just going to kind of go through the motions, and then, kind of do this or kind of do that. And if you make a mistake, then is it because you made a mistake, or is it because you weren't caring? And then it just gets into this downward spiral. And like you said, the love, the passion, the 100% effort, I absolutely love it. That's my whole thing that I want to always tell people when it comes to anything that they're doing. I don't care if you're just starting, if you've been playing for 27 years. You need to give the 100% best, and you need to do that in every aspect of the sport. That's practice, that's treatment, that's the games. And hearing that from you on that side is absolutely incredible, because like I said, I try to preach it. I try to tell people about it. And here you are speaking it perfectly, and just describing it to a T, exactly what it needs to be. And so to wrap this thing up, do you want to give a shout out to anybody out there, any friends, family, teammates, whoever it may be? The floor is open for any
Yeah.
shout outs for
Yeah.
any particular person. Go for it.
I feel like a big shout out to obviously everyone that I've been, that I get to met, and just everyone that's been a part of my journey here, since coming to America. Just thanks to everyone. And thanks to volleyball too, just it opened so much opportunities for me, getting a free education and everything absolutely been amazing. So I feel like I just love this sport, and volleyball is just my life. That's what I would say. And second thing, this Saturday is actually my senior night
Oh,
for
snap.
the last time. Yeah, my senior night. So we play against Utah Valley Saturday, ESPN Plus, if you want to lock in.
ESPN Plus.
Uh, yes, at
UTA
12 p.m.
is hosting Utah Valley. ESPN Plus, what time?
12 p.m. on
12
Saturday.
p.m. on Saturday. So we got a midday game on Saturday. Utah Valley against UTA at home, 12 p.m.
Yeah.
ESPN Plus. Got it. Memorized
Yes.
now. Got it. I just had
Yeah.
to speak it out loud.
Yeah.
Well,
And
JC,
thank you so much for inviting me also.
you
I
are
had so much fun.
you are very welcome. Like I said, the chance that we had, and I believe everything happens for a reason. So the fact that we met, what is it, 7 months ago or whatever it is now, 7, 8 months, whatever it is at this point.
Yeah.
I truly believe everything happens for a reason. But I appreciate you coming
Yeah.
on. I appreciate you telling your story. I was super intrigued to hear a lot of it, and I think what you are doing both in the volleyball sphere and just as a human being, having sat down and had those a very long conversation with you, I can appreciate all the things that you're doing, the hard work that you put in, and just truly not many people understand greatness, nor excellence. And I think you do a very good job of embodying that because of the passion that you have and the effort that you give. So just, I want to give you full props there, because like I'm able to see it from the outside. I mean, I don't particularly follow every one thing that you're doing, but the things that I'm able to see and recognize, and just from, having this 45-minute conversation with you and the conversations we've had before, like I just really appreciate all the things that you're doing and all the hard work that you're doing. And, hearing your story made that even more evident. Again, to touch it for the audience again, the fact that you came over here, 2 weeks was spent in a hotel with COVID. You didn't know the language. You didn't know the food. You show up, You bust your butt. You understand the language. You're able to graduate with a bachelor's degree. You're now going for your master's. Like, you're doing all these awesome things. And there's so many people that should be able to look to you as inspiration and say, well, I can do this. And you can be a perfect story for so many people out there. And like I said, I appreciate you taking the time, because I know, as you can tell from the story, you have a very busy life, and you didn't have to take the time today, but I appreciate it so much. Good luck to you on Saturday. And ESPN Plus, Utah Valley against UTA, 12 o'clock,
Yeah.
ESPN Plus. So all of you guys need to go out there and watch it. But JC, thank you. And guys, I will see you in the next one.
Thank you.